Yes, we do welcome in a special guest. It is Wisconsin's latest commit in their 2025 class. It is offensive lineman Hardy Watts. He's the number one player in Massachusetts, the number 12 interior lineman in the country. Hardy, thanks for joining us. I know you're getting ready for the 4th of July, so I certainly appreciate you taking the time.
No, thank you. This is great. I really appreciate your time as well.
So you obviously made your commitment to Wisconsin over the likes of Michigan and Clemson and a whole bunch of other really, really good programs. I guess just the opening question, it's probably the same one you've gotten everywhere you've talked here this last day. Why Wisconsin?
Really, just kind of the gut feeling that I had about Wisconsin. I'd say, being in Madison, getting around the guys in the locker room, interacting with all the coaches and the coaching staff, really just kind of made it obvious and easy for me. And then, like I said, I had that kind of gut feeling ever since I got there. And they kind of say when you know, and I kind of knew, and I just followed my gut, and it led me to Wisconsin.
Hardy, you hadn't visited Wisconsin until that weekend for official visits, June 7th. When you started this process of lining up visits, all the other schools on your list, I think, were places you had been before. What was your thought process a month or so ago before you'd even seen Wisconsin about where you thought this might be headed?
Well, to be honest, so I was supposed to come out for an unofficial visit, and during that, when the day before that happened, we were going to check our flights, and we realized that our flights had been booked for next weekend. So we could just classic, out of a movie, and so we couldn't go on the unofficial, which was really annoying because I really wanted to get out there for an unofficial. And then right before we scheduled, so the reason why I took the official visit was one, I really wanted to get out and see Wisconsin. My offensive line coach had told me to go out and check it out there because he played college football and a while ago when Wisconsin was in championship contention, and he just idolized Wisconsin. And so not only that, but my relationship with Coach Blaz stemmed back to Vanderbilt when I got offered by Vanderbilt. And he has just been the most amazing man in person, and really pleasant to talk to. And I felt as though I owed it to him as well. He had been recruiting me really hard, and I wanted to get out there and kind of see what he had to show, and you kind of put a face to names and all of that. So that was kind of my thought process going into the official visits. And to be quite honest, and absolutely, this isn't the case now, but the day before my official, we were supposed to leave. I was not upset, but just like I don't know, for lack of a better word, like uninterested in the fact that oh, I haven't taken an unofficial here. I don't think I'll need to take an official. I already really have a good sense of where I'll be going, and I think that it'll just be wasting the coach's time. And my mom said to me, she was like, "Hey, we already have the flights booked. Let's just go and you know just check it out." And my mom said from the second we landed, she never told me this until yesterday, but she said from the second we landed, she knew I was going to Wisconsin, just because of my body language and how I acted around people. And she just said the second we landed, I knew that you were going to come here. And then looking back, truly, ever since I had that first real day, not the day that we landed, but that first real day, I knew I had that gut feeling. So that was kind of my process with Wisconsin and kind of my thought process going into my unofficials and officials.
So we have Mrs. Watts to thank for you speaking with us today. Then is that what you're saying?
Well, a little bit, yeah. I mean, if you really put it simply, I mean, I was never actually going to cancel, but I mean, she's been my sounding board and she's been my voice of reason throughout this whole process, and she's kept me grounded. And so it's great for me to have her as a support system.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No. That was it.
Yeah. So I was going to follow up. Obviously, there was. I mean, the feel around your official visit. Obviously, things went well, but there was a feeling that and even these crystal balls that all these sites do and the projections that it wasn't going to be Wisconsin. It was going to be Michigan or it was going to be Clemson. Why, in the end? I mean, did you feel kind of like it was going to be Michigan, and then all of a sudden that official visit changed your mind? Because you said you kind of had an idea of where you were going to end up.
So I come from a small private school with very, very high expectations for college placement in regards to academics. And so for me, and this is no shade at any of the other two schools, but for me, Michigan, the name of Michigan, kind of how that name carries in the academics world, at my school is very, very, very high. Like their reputation is as high as it can get. It's up there with the Ivies. And so there was a lot of pressure on me to go to Michigan because of that academic piece and kind of that it, um, the name that it held and kind of the reputation that it held in terms of academics and for my desired major. But kind of as I got around the staff more and kind of learned more about the education and things like that, I realized that Wisconsin is a phenomenal school with amazing academics as well. I just had to do my research on it. It's not, out there like Michigan, but it's really, really strong academically. And so up until kind of that point where I kind of got over all right, maybe the teachers and deans at my school might not be the happiest because I'm not going to Michigan, but I'm going where I want to go. And, they can do their own research and find out for themselves that they have an amazing business school with the #1 real estate program in the world. And, #2 personal finance program. There's a lot of great academic things out in Wisconsin that just aren't, the front headlines of, academic like talks. So, I think once I found that, kind of got over that hump, with kind of, all right, this isn't going to be what people at school want me to do, but oh well, I'm doing what I want to do and where I'm going to be happiest and where I want to eventually play. Kind of that's how I got over my kind of other school's hunch.
You mentioned the relationship you developed with AJ Blazek dating back to when he was a coach at Vanderbilt. What would you say stands out about him as a coach and also as a recruiter? Because he was able to get commitments not only from you, but from a couple other guys who took their official visits and were uncommitted at the time.
So Coach Blaz is the most amazing man. He's very compassionate. He's very energetic. Just really overall well-rounded man. And you can tell he's genuine with what he says and kind of what he does. And I actually had a coach as I was winding down, kind of ready to make the calls on my decision. And this didn't flip me either way. This just made me, that much more excited. But a coach from a separate school called me and said, "Hey, call me when you get a chance." Because I didn't pick up the first time. He said, "Call me when you get a chance. Just want to talk to you about something." So originally I was like, what the heck? Like, is this going to be a final push for me to flip, consider a school outside of my top 3? Are they going to try one last recruiting thing? And so I called expecting really anything. And what I found out was he called me because he was scrolling through kind of my Twitter profile and seeing my top 3 schools and saw that I had Wisconsin in my top schools. And I said, "Oh, what do you know about Wisconsin?" He goes, "No, I just want to call you and tell you about Coach Blazek, the O-line coach there." He just said, "I have never met a better man, a more caring man. I've worked with him. I know him personally. There truly is no better man." And again, he worked at a different school, and he said that. He said, "I work at blank. I have no connection to, Wisconsin recruiting. I don't even have Coach Blaz's number. Like, he didn't ask me to do this. This is me, you know, trying to do and help you do what's best for you." And I think that, you cannot go wrong with Coach Blaz. And I just said, wow, like, for someone to reach out to me and say that about him, that must mean he's really, really special. And that, it's not just a recruiting mask that he puts on, and he'll become the Grinch after. And so I'm really excited to get to work with him and kind of be with him for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Hardy, what would you, how would you define your play on the field? I mean, you come across, as we're talking here, pretty mild mannered, but we're watching some of the clips from your highlights, and it's you putting dudes in the ground and putting guys 20 yards down the field. How would you describe what kind of attitude you bring to the football field?
Well, so I can kind of, as corny as it sounds, kind of flip a switch, I guess. I really, really enjoy football. I'm happiest when I get to play it, when I'm on the field. And I kind of just, not autopilot, but, the adrenaline just gets so going. And, I could run through a wall. And I am very disciplined. I'm a technician. I really like to, I watch so much football. I watch, this is going to sound weird, but I don't mean it in a weird way, but I watch a lot of myself. Like, I rewatch my tape from each individual game. I take notes. I try and make myself better in every step, version of the way. And I just try to get better every day. In terms of my play, I'd say, I'm a very well-rounded player. I'm not, better at run blocking or pass blocking. I'm very strong in both. I'm always going to finish a block, and I'll talk a little smack on the way down and on the way up. That's just kind of who I am. To me, there's no friends on the football field, and I carry that attitude without me. However, whoever I go against, you could be the number one player in the country. That doesn't matter to me. Rankings are just a guy that views you highly or doesn't think that highly of you. So it doesn't matter. But I just love to play football, and I think O-line's the best position because it's legalized. Legalized. I don't know. What do you?
Assault?
Yeah, legalized. Yeah, legalized torture. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. But yeah, you get, in college you get paid to run into people and throw people around for money, so it's not that bad.
Your high school coach said you were a 6'1", 175-pound tight end as a freshman.
I was a little lighter, yeah, but yes.
And now I think what you're listed at 6'6", 305, so we're in that neighborhood. So it all worked out. But when did it start to click for you that you could be a pretty high-level offensive lineman, and what was that transition like?
Well, so yeah, I was about 6'1", about 145 pounds. So I was a little lighter. I was really, really, really skinny. And I had the height. I was 6'1" as a freshman, but I was really, really like scarily skinny. And so I played in the spring football league. I didn't want to, I really, really thought about hanging up my cleats with football. At the time, I was swimming and playing lacrosse. And so I was going to focus and lock in on those and, pick up soccer in the fall. But I played in the spring football league, and my coach stuck me at left tackle. I had never played offensive line. I had never, and why would you put a kid that's never played offensive line at left tackle blocking a quarterback against committed guys that were going to college and seniors? I was a freshman. So that entire game, I, let up a sack, TFL, pressure, hurry. I just got picked up and moved, really. It was really, really bad and really humbling and embarrassing for me. I wanted to quit after that and almost did. But my coach and my offensive line coach sent me an email after and just said, "Hey, Hardy, we want you to know how proud we are and how much kind of grit and determination you showed us today. You were able to kind of get up after every play and do it again, no matter what the outcome was. And that showed us a lot. And we just want to know that, we see that. And we think that if you continue to, develop and grow. We think he could be a guy that ends up with a few scholarship offers in terms of, we think he could play in college. And, growing up with a complicated family dynamic, kind of hearing that made me, I don't know, it just evoked something in me. And I kind of knew then that, all right, someone believes in me. Let's go. Let's do this. And, I started eating. I hit the weight room. I don't think I've missed a day in the weight room in a couple of years. And, I just put my head down. I went to work, and, the height was just a blessing. I didn't have to be 6'6". The height was a blessing. The weights all work. So to get to almost no, not almost, to actually double in size and then some, I really, really, if it wasn't for, my work ethic, I wouldn't be here, strictly because of the weight aspect. I mean, putting on weight, people might think it's easy. You just get to eat a lot, but I'm 18% body fat. I've kept lean the entire time. So it's been a grind, but I'm ready to put it to use in college and, get to mauling D tackles in the Big Ten.
My last question, Hardy, for you is about the 2025 class. Your commit number. I mean, you guys are over 20 now, right? So you're at what is it, 22, Jesse?
I think it's 21 plus preferred walk-on, but it's pretty well rounded out.
Yeah, it's getting up there. It's a really good class. Obviously, you're near the top of the list for these guys. But what kind of relationship have you had with some of the other members of this class? I know that they were, just based on social media, recruiting you pretty hard. Now, does it turn around and you try and help finish this thing out for 2025?
Absolutely. I'm all about, let's be the best we can. So the second I'll, yesterday was really, really busy for me. So I didn't really get a chance to kind of look through everything and respond to everything, or, look at everything. So I have to go back and do that. But absolutely. I'll be the hardest recruiter for some of these new guys. I mean, I want to be the best, and I'm going to do whatever I can to be there. And, I want, as a team, I want, nothing but success for us, and I want to have the best team in the world. And so absolutely, I'm going to help recruit. My, relationship with the current players is truly, like, I've already been welcomed in. I mean, group chats, texts, you name it, just parents of players reaching out. It's just really a family. And, really, I don't see how anyone wouldn't want to be a part of it. So I'm just really excited to kind of get on the recruiting trail, I guess, and kind of flip the script. But yeah, it's going to be fun. And I'm really excited to get to work with these guys and the guys that are already there. That was definitely a strong draw for me, was the locker room that Wisconsin had. So I'm really, really excited to get to Madtown and get to work in Camp Randall.
All right. Hey, Hardy, really appreciate your time. And
thank you.
And I guess we'll see you when you get here next year. But enjoy the 4th of July. And again, thanks for jumping on.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate your time. This has been great.